Joining us today is Navtej Singh Sarna, a name who does not need any introduction, a very popular diplomat, a columnist, author, and also a former ambassador of India to the United States of America. Sir, thank you very much for speaking with us here in Riyadh. Firstly, I want to understand from you, many are calling this event like a Davos in the desert. How has been your experience, and why do you think this is an important place where thought leaders from around the world are converging to find solutions to some of the most pressing issues for the world?
Well, I think it started with the tagline of Davos in the desert, but I think it's moved on and developed a personality of its own. This is, I think, the 8th edition of FII. I think it's a huge gathering, about 8,000 people, I believe. Every single significant financial personality, economists, thought leaders, editors, world leaders, politicians are here. Even our minister, Mr. Piyush Goyal, is going to be here today, I believe. So I think it's a very progressive, very forward-looking event, and the discussions are quite gripping. They cover geopolitics, geoeconomics, and particularly technology. I think artificial intelligence and different aspects of it are getting a lot of attention. So I think in terms of giving a future direction to investment, to exploring new avenues of cooperation, particularly economic cooperation in a very turbulent world landscape, I think it's an important event.
Great. So we are talking just days ahead of the big election results in America, which is being termed as historic for the American politics with the two candidates that we have for the President of the United States of America. You understand US very well. How important is this election for India? How important is the result going to be?
Well, I think it is historic because in terms of the fact that it is, there's no election that's been so narrowly fought and so closely tied almost to the last minute. So we really don't know. Nobody seems to know where it's going to go. It all depends upon 6 or 7 swing states and which way they go. As to what it means for India, I think we are fairly clear. We worked with President Trump before. We worked with the Democrats before. I think for the last quarter century, the India-US relationship has been progressively moving upwards and forwards, and I see no major significant change in that trajectory. There would be perhaps a change of emphasis, a change of nuance. Every personality brings a different nuance, a different kind of stress or a subjectivity to matters, but that is a very small element. I think the larger direction of the strategic partnership is safe, and I think we'll be able to work very well with whoever is in the White House.
Super. Now, sir, it is being considered as a historic one. Recently, Prime Minister Modi also visited the US. You understand US, you've been there as a representative of India. How much do you think have things changed for India as a country? How are we seen now versus how were we being seen in the US, say, a decade ago?
Well, I think, as I said, this has been constantly, the relationship has been growing, and today India is seen as a very important strategic partner, not just in, as a sort of, or not just in relation to the deteriorating US-China relationship, but also in India's own potential and capacity, whether it is our very fast-growing economy, our progress in ease of doing business, our political stability, democratic values, as well as the fact that India is a young country. There's a tremendous promise of innovation and activity which will feed into the US's growth as compared to Japan, China, which are really aging countries. So I think India has opened up new areas of cooperation, not just the standard ones which we've been working on, but today you've moved into critical and emerging technologies, you moved into health. Of course, you have defense, security. There's a significant presence of Indian diaspora. So all that is making a difference. India is today, seen in a very different light than perhaps in the long past.
Okay, interesting. You mentioned China. With your permission, let me slip in a question about China, because a lot is happening between India and China. The process of disengagement at the line of actual control has begun. Many are seeing this as the first step towards improvement in trade relations, beginning of de-escalation. What is your reading of the situation?
Well, you said it. I think it's a very important step, which enabled a meeting between the two leaders. We have to see how things go overall before it becomes all business as normal. Things have to go positively across a number of issues. But China does remain an important trade partner. We have a huge 120 billion trade relationship, and the trade balance is not in our favor by a huge margin. So I think while we have a trade relationship, the investment aspects are still under debate, and we have to see how the overall relationship with China goes before it all becomes business as normal.
What are your thoughts on de-dollarization, another hot topic? We just had the BRICS summit concluding in Russia as well.
Well, I think it's one of the things which move forward, but we deal a lot in the dollar, so I think that every country has a slightly different view on this issue. So we'll see how it goes.
One last question, one quick advice for India if Trump comes to power, and one advice for India if Kamala Harris comes to power.
Well, I'm nobody to advise. There are very wise heads who are looking after this relationship, and they know both of these personalities very well, and I'm sure they'll take care of it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
With video journalist Gopal in Riyadh, Hina Gambhir for Times Now.